It says we're live. I'm going to check on YouTube.
Let me take a look. Yeah, it says that we're live on my end.
Okay, I always have to reload on YouTube like twice for it to show up for me for some reason. So I finally see it on YouTube.
Oh. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Hello, Athena. So glad you're catching one of these. Hello, Kit. Klacha, nice to see you again, as always. Petra, hello. The Forest Room link is already in the chat because I was on top of my stuff this morning. But first, we're going to introduce ourselves, and then I'll put the Forest code up on screen if you want to enter it yourself, although clicking the link is faster. And then we'll pretty much jump into the first sprint because Carrow and I both need to get our life together and finish our routines.
Yeah.
Hello, this is a former classmate of mine. Hello, nice to see you. How are you and your dog, and how's life? Because I've been really bad about keeping in touch with you, and I apologize. Hello. Did you draw your tarot card for the day yet, The Quiet Life? Because you told me what you drew yours for yesterday, and I'm now curious because I now know that you also draw one every day. I need to pull up the timer so that I'm ready to go once we do it. So, Carrow, why don't you introduce yourself while I do that behind the scenes?
Absolutely. Hello, my name is Carrow Brown. I am an urban fantasy author and the owner of Mad Raptor Productions, which is a book publishing company which specializes in publishing fiction. I'm here today to actually work on some editing because on top of doing all that, I somehow try to write books at the same time. So the book I'm working on, or I'm editing today, is it's called Fine Print, which is for my Faye Black pen name, where I write romance under, and it's about like a demoness who can't capture a human soul and all the shenanigans that happen with that. So it was a guilty pleasure manuscript I wrote at the end of Camp Nano last year.
That sounds amazing. I remember you mentioning it.
Yeah, so it's got kind of like I guess it's got a little bit of like Lucifer meets All My Goddess vibes to it, because it's got kind of like some of the slapstick of All My Goddess, but like some of the consequences of Lucifer in it. So
I like that pitch.
So my
sorry.
No, it's okay. My editor was actually very kind. She's very thorough, by the way. If you guys need like a really solid editor, Chelsea over at Written in Melanin, perfect. Really good stuff there.
If you want to send me a link in the private chat, I'll pop it in the public chat.
Yeah, let me get her deets for you real quick. Yeah, I actually just got the cover for that back too, and that looks really good, but I usually don't like to share the cover until like I'm in the line edit stage, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah. So, there she is. And then here you go in the private chat, Chelsea's needs.
Great. I'm gonna paste that in. My name is Sarah Hoffman. I'm a self-published author of young adult paranormal romance. My trilogy has been out, the full trilogy has been out since May 2020, but yesterday I published my first new adult sci-fi romance, which is the first book of a different trilogy. I'm very excited. People have already been buying it, so that's very exciting. I popped Carrow's editor in the chat for people who are interested. Again, the Forest Room link is in the chat if you scroll all the way up, but I'm also going to share the code up on screen. It is 5WKBSHH. More comments came in. Thais is here. Hello. A Quiet Life said they were waiting for the live stream to pull their daily card, which is very cool. Miguel, the author, is popping in from Maddie's stream. I still have Maddie's stream open, but I had to mute it once I started chatting with Carol behind the scenes. Good morning, Regina. Vale, hello. Hi, I'm trying to be a person who actually makes words this morning. We'll see how it goes. Yes. I mentioned a bit earlier, I don't know if you were here for that because your comment just popped up. Carol and I will probably be sending the first sprint, getting our lives together by finishing our morning routines, which basically involves journaling. So words will be involved, but not novel words. And then for the second sprint, I will jump into writing the sequel to the book that just released yesterday, and Carrow will be doing edits.
Yeah, be going through edits and stuff like that. Yeah.
I couldn't remember what level of editing you said though, so that's why I hesitated.
I'm going through all the developmental edits because she had a couple story recommendations in there. So I want to. It's one of those things that I always recommend that folks that when you're doing your edit, once you get your dev edit back, to print it out and then read it through that way and make your notes on paper, because that hand-brain coordination will actually stimulate different parts of your brain, and it works really well for me. Also, reading it aloud, highly encourage that. And for those anybody who's actually interested, anytime I get a full, like when I send a full manuscript request out for anything that gets submitted to me, I don't actually sit and read it. What I do is I put it in Word and then have the robot voice read it to me. So if you want to double check what that's going to sound like, highly recommend that you do that, because that's how I'm
speaking of robots reading it though, on my last live stream of 2020 on my channel, because I was then in one on a Grape Fry's channel the next day. Sage, who is Moon Bunny Creative on YouTube and soon to be Twitch, because I think it's after this week they're going to switch over to Twitch more than YouTube. They recommended this thing called Natural Reader, and I'm just popping the link in the chat. It is a Chrome extension, but also you can download it for software. You just paste in what you want, and supposedly it sounds less robotic. I haven't actually tried it yet, but I did download it back then.
I have tried that. It's a really solid product. However, I don't use that for the samples because I want to hear it in all its cringy glory. And the reason I do that is because audiobooks don't always come out right away. So people who are blind will actually listen to the text from Kindle. So that's how they're going to hear it. So I just want to experience it with them.
Yeah. Klacha, I made the cover for the book I'm writing now when I was only 3K in. Unlike that, my second book, I made that cover well after finishing the second draft. It's cool that you make your own covers.
That's cool.
I don't. I have so many covers for books that have not been written yet, and that's mostly because I had a period of time where I was in a lot of pre-made cover artist groups, and I would just see a cover and be like, I know this is going to be a story, and I would like almost instantly have a story with it, and then I'd get it. But now I don't buy covers anymore because I have over 40 ideas. If you've seen my novel ideas tag video on my YouTube channel, and most of them already have covers, so it's like, you know what, I gotta publish the book so I can make some of that money back.
Yeah, that's always like the first thing, because like whenever I have to think about my sales, I'm kind of like, well, I need to make this much to at least cover my product costs.
Oh, I'm definitely in debt right now, and my spreadsheet never fails to remind me. But I mean, I'm never going to stop writing books. So, and hopefully, you know, because my platform is growing, just because I'm making friends and hosting these sprints and making YouTube videos, that like, hopefully the number won't be as cringe-inducing in the future. I'm closing the gap. It's just taking very long. My book is available on Amazon. All my books are available on Amazon. Only the one that just released, Obscure Origin, is wide. The other ones are only on Amazon, except for The Belgrave Legacy, which is the first book in my young adult paranormal romance trilogy. That you actually get for free if you sign up for my newsletter, which I'll pop a link to it in the chat, although I also have it linked in the description down below. So, I'm well versed in Blender and After Effects. Yeah. I am still learning After Effects, but I do know the rest of the Adobe Creative Suite pretty well.
I love InDesign. InDesign
is amazing.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Like my book formatter was kind of like, do I have to use it? I was like, absolutely, because if you're sick and I need to fix it, that's the only software I know how to use. So,
hey, you know what? The fact that you know it is great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to like know how to do a whole bunch of things when it comes to like all the backstage work that comes with book publishing. But like, if you ever launch your own publishing company, don't try to do everything yourself, because what happens is it all gets funneled through you, and then everything gets held up. So,
yeah. No, I can do a lot of things for myself, but there are certain things that like I would never do myself because I know someone else can do it better.
Yeah, that too.
Okay, so we're gonna jump into the first sprint. Let me add the timer, and we're gonna start in. Let me hide the banner. We're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Happy productivity, everyone. that was the end of the first sprint. Right after I started it, I realized that we did the tree part of trees and tarot, and I forgot to explain the tarot part. So as you can see on the ticker down below, I said card death, and then I named the tree that we were planting. And basically that refers to the idea that before every sprint, my guest pulls a card or I pull a card that from our tarot decks, and then we define it, and then people can use it as an optional writing prompt for the sprint. And we forgot to talk about it. So I did put Carrow's prompt in the chat, and I probably should have put it up on screen, but I forgot to do that too. So Carrow drew death for the first sprint, and Carrow's going to talk about it now, and then I'm going to pull a card for the second sprint, and for the second sprint you can either do the death prompt or the card that I pull, and I will put both of them in the chat, and you can just scroll and see which one you like better.
Okay. So I pulled death, and I think of all the cards that gets a really bad rap in tarot, it's the death card, because everybody sees it and they're like, oh God, bad things are coming. No, that's the tower. I'm just letting you know. And death is all about transition. It's about going from one phase to another. But the thing about the death card is that unlike the sun or the star card, which also kind of talks about transition, death is kind of like an exhausted transition. Like you're finally happy it's here and that you're moving on, and the whole thing leaves you weary, kind of like moving across country, you know? But yeah, so that prompt would be kind of like doing some kind of change, which is challenging for your protagonist or one of the side characters. And it like moves your story along, but maybe there might be some kind of loss in the middle of it as well. Because when you do that kind of transition, you do have to sacrifice some kind of part of yourself at the same time in order to grow. So there you go.
Yes, I am putting the new forest room link in the chat. It is also up on screen, 448N7SR. I am also going to talk about the card that I pulled, which is the Hermit. I'm using the Penny Dreadful deck. I use it all the time. And
I like that deck swap stream that we did, like where you and I basically got each other. Yeah, that was fun. I really liked that a lot. Fun.
We could do that again next time.
Yeah.
Carrow had posted a video all about her different tarot decks, and one of them was the Neon Moon tarot deck, and it was very cool, and it was very appropriate to a story that I'm writing down the line. So I got that tarot deck, and then I sent her a link of where to get mine, because it's pretty hard to find this actually now that the Showtime store doesn't sell it anymore, and neither does Amazon. So I tracked it down online for her, and we each got the tarot deck that the other had recommended, and we did our last Trees and Tarot stream together, just the two of us, because on the third, Carrow was one of my guests for multiple other witchy author tubers. We swapped decks, basically, and we pulled cards from the other deck.
Yeah, that stream that you did on the third was fun, too, because, like, if you guys want to watch some tarot people get nerdy, like, just have somebody pull a card. It's like, okay, guys, what are your thoughts about this card? It's like, oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I promise we did writing during that stream too, but it was a lot of fun. Okay, so anyway, the Hermit is basically introspection, enlightenment, solitude, and soul searching. It's basically like if your character were the mentor character in most every fantasy book, but like before they meet the main character, it's like this is how they got wise. So I'm putting that description also in the chat. So you have the death card that Carrow drew for the previous sprint, but we forgot to talk about. So that is rebirth and transition, but you need to sacrifice something to get to the new phase. And then this one is introspection, enlightenment, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if in the prompt somebody had to give up something that left them wanting to be alone for a while.
Yeah, you could do that. as a hybrid prompt for this next one.
Hey,
Thank you, Ruby. The trees were all picked by Carrow, even though we're alternating who draws the cards.
That's like the easiest part of being on the stream is when she sends me pictures. She's like, pick some. I was like, that one's pretty, that one's pretty, that one's pretty.
Yeah. Hello, Violet. Maddie just finished her stream, so everyone hopped over in a YouTube version of a raid, which is a Twitch thing. If you aren't on Twitch and don't know, but thank you. So glad to see everyone is here. 5 workouts done. Cool.
Night, you're still doing Ring Fit, right, Athena? That's such a fun game. I'm a fitness junkie. I'm sure that comes to the surprise of no one. So I like rhythm games, and I like, it's a fun game.
Death of 2020, yeah.
Oh, you should see the shirt I got when I was in Florida. The weirdest year in history, 2020 strong.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Everyone, be sure, yes. Sorry, internet parent, I forgot to have it ticking. Stretch, hydrate, save your work, and like the stream keys, especially now that there are a lot more of you. Sin said, I am researching tarot on my free time. It seemed a cool idea to draw a deck myself based on book characters. That's cool.
I've done that. That's why I got that whole Neo deck, because I kind of semi on and off collab an idea with one of my friends, and in that setting there's somebody who works with tarot, and I saw that deck and I was like, this would totally be her deck, and she was like, oh my god, yes, and so I have it now.
I just grabbed it. What's really cool is that it also is perfect for a story that I'm writing down the line, like I mentioned, and it is set in my friend's book universe. He hasn't published anything yet because he's actually switched his priority to music, but his world is super like mechanical and robots and AI and stuff. But my story is about like magic has been outlawed in this world before it reaches the point that his world is set in. So a tarot deck that's basically all about that just seemed really cool. So like there are wires everywhere and it's dystopian, and
it's like if Shadowrun decided to make a tarot deck. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And then that's the back of each card.
Super cool.
And the logo is here, Neon Moon. So it's very cool. And I don't really use this deck regularly because I'm not writing this story yet, but when I use it, it is fun. So, hello, Hannah. I think from very little I've heard tarot seems pretty cool. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. There isn't a tarot of trees.
Oh, I've seen that. I'm on a tarot buying ban because you got I actually have a shelf that's just dedicated to holding all my tarot cards, and my Mr. Brown has kindly requested that I finish doing a review of all my current decks before I buy more, which I think sounds totally reasonable. I just have 17 more decks to go. Anyway, not that I have a problem or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom's deck is different. My mom's deck is the Toth deck.
Whoo!
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Whew.
And I love that deck, but
Crowley's deck.
It just like wasn't my own deck, you know what I mean? So I got my own, the Penny Dreadful. Yeah, the Neon Moon cards are really, really glossy, whereas the Penny Dreadful ones are more matte, although they do have, a coating. Okay, where do you recommend buying tarot cards? Carrow?
Etsy and Amazon, depending on what you're looking for, but I would recommend that you go to tarot.com, which usually has all of the tarot decks on there, and see which ones that you kind of like, and then go do a search for that. I am pretty guilty about backing decks on Kickstarter because those are pretty unique as far as I'm concerned. So this is a deck that I backed on Kickstarter. It's called the Keymaster Tarot. It was made
so cool.
It was made in Sweden. And it's really paying tribute back to the actual form of tarot. So for those of you who don't know, tarot actually used to be a card game in Italy back in the 1400s. So it's paying tribute to all of that all over again. So it is using some of the card suits like diamonds, hearts, and the clubs and the spades. And I backed it thinking it would just be like a nice novel idea. But I tell you what, man, this deck came in and I was like, this has like been my go-to deck since it showed up like 2 months ago. I haven't gone to the others since then. So
that's awesome.
But I will tell you guys, if you decide that you want this deck, it's not a beginner deck friendly because you gotta. Because if you don't know your meanings and you see something like this, it's going to be difficult. Where the cards that are based on the red or white symbology are going to give you more like context clues to work with. So this would be a deck that when you're at a stage where you don't need to look at the book, this would be a deck to get.
Yeah, I got this off of Amazon, but it was being sold. It was created by Showtime, the TV station, because the show Penny Dreadful was on it, and you could also buy it through their website at the time. You can't buy it on Amazon or Showtime anymore. It was on Etsy, but because it's Etsy, you can't always guarantee it's going to be there. And then I bought this on Etsy, and Carrow bought this on Etsy, but I bought it on Amazon. And then I don't know, my mom got her cards forever ago, so they might have even been a gift. If you want to talk about gifting decks, Carrow, quickly.
Yeah, so it depends on who you talk to and the snobbery of the person that you're discussing it with, and I say that with all sincerity. Because some people think that you shouldn't buy your own deck. They think that you should only be gifted them. And I think that that's a very outdated view on it. But what I will say is if you do get a deck that's a gift from somebody else, is to pretty much just never get rid of it. It has a little bit more power than, a typical buy would have in it. But I've actually only been gifted one deck, and it was from a friend, and I call it my friendship deck because anytime I actually have to do like a check-in on one of my friends who's gone silent on me, that's the deck I usually have to go to. And sometimes it gives like things like, hey, they're going through stuff, they just need some time, whatever. It's not that I hate to like invade people's personal space like that, but concerned friends are concerned. So I'm just looking for some kind of affirmation if they're okay or not,
I've only bought decks. I've never had one gifted. And they all work for me, but I can't say that like a gifted deck wouldn't be more powerful, like Carrow said, because I don't have that experience. I will say, comments just down. Carrow plus playing cards combo could be cool. If you go to the website for this deck, which is pixeloccult.com, it actually has game rules if you use the game. It also comes on the instructions that come in the physical deck too. And yeah, I mean, my mom just had her tarot deck from like a long time ago before she adopted me, so I would play with it sometimes. I also tried runes at one point, but then I lost them. And I took that as a sign from the universe that maybe just stick to tarot. This is a tarot household. Yeah, I used to live with someone who read professionally. We had so many decks. Yeah. How long did it take you to fully understand all the meanings? Well, I'll let you know when that happens for me. But Carrow.
Oh, I've been doing this since I was 16. So, but I will say, because I'm actually writing a manuscript called Carrow's Tarot. Not to promote anything that I have coming out, but when I started writing that, it was nice to see how much I knew. And then there was a couple of cards that I don't usually see very often where I had to like reintroduce myself to them because I don't pull them very often. And ever since I actually wrote that, like I've needed to look at that manuscript less and less. I do it right now because part of what I want to do with that manuscript when I publish it is make it like people's go-to guide. So I want to make sure that it's efficient, it's friendly, it's in a good order and all that other stuff. So, I guess it really kind of depends on your study style. It can take like a year, it can take 10 years, and whatever method that you need to do to help you reinforce it. I do find using the tarot cards that are based on the red or white system to be more friendly because, again, this deck right here, it doesn't have all the same symbolism for you to draw on, where those ones do have things that you can kind of like zoom your attention on.
Yeah, this deck, I love it, but it's not beginner friendly. Like so there are major arcana and there's minor arcana, and major arcana in my deck are all like sea creatures, and then I just had one. This is an exception because she's wearing it as a necklace, but the pentacles are all like shields, paired with land animals and like what you expect in like an Arthurian kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
But you have cups where it's always this robed figure, and they're just the number of cups are pouring down around them.
Mm-hmm.
And then wands. Okay, well, swords is also kind of, you see them, and it's really obvious. But it's a sword card. And then, Jesus Christ, I just saw a bunch of. There we go. Wands are always skulls on sticks.
Yeah.
And wands are identity. So like that one's kind of easier, but if you don't know anything about tarot, it's harder to memorize these meanings.
That was, I think, when we swapped decks, that was like the one thing where I was like, okay, so this is the picture, but that's not what it means.
Yeah. Each like suit kind of has its own type of animal associated with it in this deck.
Mm-hmm.
Marigold Tarot, Night Veil deck. Yeah.
That was a good deck.
I think I always felt like I wanted to get into Night Veil before I got that deck, and I still haven't gotten into Night Veil, so I'm not getting the deck yet. Only been gifted. Do you play? Sorry, quickly. Another tarot question, Carrow.
Yeah, I do. So it kind of depends. So common practice when you get a new deck is to have it with you for a couple of days, so that way you can kind of like align and make like a bond with it. Some people sleep with it under their pillow. I put it on the nightstand. Same difference as far as I'm concerned.
I have it on my nightstand and in the box.
Yeah. So, and then there's the once a month full moon bathing. If you have like a rambunctious deck, which basically is when your deck just always gives you like really negative cards and you don't have like that follow through. So that's a pretty good time. Solstices are a good time to cleanse all of your cards as well. But it kind of also depends on like what's going on with you on that deck too. Like I had one deck, it was absolutely beautiful and I really loved it, like gold foil, fantastic art, everything. And it kept giving me the equivalent of the finger every time I used it. And so I didn't know what I was going to do with it. And then one of my friends came over and she was like, I absolutely love this deck and I want it. And I was like, just take it. Like, it's yours. And she says that deck has been like absolutely fantastic for her. So I was like, clearly it wasn't meant to be with me.
Yeah. I see people are mentioning Oracle decks in the chat. This is my Oracle deck. I got the Shadow Edition because it's like blues and purples. They have other color themes for the same deck. They also have a tarot deck, but I was like, I'm not buying another tarot deck because I just bought the Neon Moon one for a specific reason. And, my Penny Dreadful is good for everything for me, whereas, Carrow seems to use their decks for different things. An
interview with your deck is super important too. Yeah. Always encourage an interview.
And every month except December, Kelly Wright and I, who is another author tuber, we jump to each other's channel to do a witchy plan with me, and we call it Planning with Pisceans, and we do a monthly spread with our tarot cards and oracle cards, and then we kind of just talk about it. So if you're interested in more witchy stuff that isn't tied in with writing sprints, which we're going to start soon, then you might want to check out one of those streams. Okay, so we have the Hermit and we have Death, and I'm not going to go through my deck to find the Death card, but if you still have your Death card out, Carrow, and want to go to this, but if you don't,
I'm about to say I've shuffled since then, but I can find it.
Yeah,
I found the Hermit right away. That was quick. Yeah, I had to do, so part of my morning routine is when I actually do my daily reading for tarot. So it's just a 3-card draw. And that's also a good way if you're trying to learn how to memorize cards is to, you can either pull 1 card a day or you can do like a 3-card reading. You know, that whole repetition thing.
I'm pulling 1 a day for 2021.
Yeah, so these are my 2 cards that we've pulled so far.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, Sinking Wasteland also looks amazing, and I do want to eventually get that. But like I said, I'm trying to not buy. Actually, this year I'm trying to do a no buy year. I'm seeing all the cards that I've pulled for other dates, but no, I want my death card just to show you all what it looks like in my deck. Oh, this is the Tower, by the way, which is the like actual troublesome card that everyone assumes death is.
Yeah,
but it's actually it's never been a mean card to me.
It's just like the Tower is about change, like sudden change that you weren't expecting. It's kind of like, but in that sudden change can come in a lot of different forms. It can come in, so on one side, it can come in as a sudden breakup with you and somebody that you care a lot about. It can be your house catching on fire. It can be a business merger. It can like it's just bam, big changes. And for individuals who don't like sudden things happening, it's a really big turbulent time for them. I usually find my friends that are big actual planners, you know, like they like to have their things all kind of lined out. When something like gets thrown into like their net that they don't want, they're going to end up being the people that fall out of the Tower because they're not going to feel like they're in control of the situation, which is probably the part that makes the Tower the worst for them. So
I have seen every other card in this deck except death. There we go. So this is death for me. The major arcana also, like, it has like sea animals and spiders, basically, in my deck.
Which is interesting because spiders, if you want to get into it, if you want to look at it from a spirit animal standpoint, I'm getting super nerdy, guys. Just work with me on this. They're actually like the architects and they're the patient people. Like they're the ones. I mean, if you think about it, a spider sits on that web for God knows how long, waiting for something to come in there, and then it's like bounce, and then it like stores it away for later. It doesn't even eat it right then and there. It's like delayed gratification at its best form.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna start the next sprint. Sorry for all of that chit chat, but it's a lot of fun. And I just saw.
I agree, Moon Bunny. That was a great shorthand explanation of what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Sage is pulling 1 card a day or 1 a stream. Cool. Silver had to leave. Okay, good. We're all caught up, and we're gonna start. Oh, let me hide the banner because when we come back, that code will no longer be accurate. And we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Happy productivity, everyone.
I can't hear you.
That was the end of the second sprint. I had my mouse hovered over the unmute button, but I'd forgotten to actually click it. So my bad, everyone.
You just want to see if we were paying attention. I totally get it. I appreciate you checking my my awareness there.
Yeah, that's absolutely what it was. So I have to leave exactly at 11 for an appointment, so I can be early for an appointment. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do one more 20-minute, and then we'll do a 10-minute instead of 4 20 minutes, because we had a long tarot chit chat in the middle, which is fine, of course. But yeah, it's an important appointment, so I don't want to be late for that.
It's your show. I'm here to work in whatever way works best for you.
Where is the star coral? I have it, obviously, but where is it? Here it is. Okay. Create room. I'm going to enter the code, so it is up on screen, not on stream, although that is also accurate. It's a very short code this time. It's randomly generated, so I have no control over how much or how little work you have to do. Given it is so short, you all might want to enter the code yourselves, but in case you don't, the link is in the chat. Regina said that she got my new book on Kindle and will review it when she's done. Thank you. I've sold 17 copies of it already, and that's like, that never happens to me. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, because I know you were apologizing in the comments about promoting your stuff. I don't think you should be.
I was just saying that, like, I don't normally like have that banner like right up on top as like big and bold. Normally I mention it like a few times in the stream, but it's not like as in your face. But yeah, I probably shouldn't be apologizing. Books by Adrian dropped by and said stopping by to leave a like and say hi. I'm out of town with the wife and kiblets. Catch y'all next time. Thank you for coming by. If you haven't liked the stream already, please do. And don't forget to stretch, hydrate, and save your work. Also, if you have gotten the Forest app because of me, I have a straw poll linked down below. It is the strawpoll.com/ URL. And if you click on it and say that you got the Forest app because of me, I then have more proof to show the Forest app developers that they should sponsor me. So if you haven't done that already, please do. It takes 2 seconds. Athena says it's your stream. Promote away. Okay, I will.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't promote your stuff, you can't expect other people to. That's just the rule of thumb. So
I mean, I'm normally pretty good about promoting my stuff and not feeling too bad about it. But when I saw the comment, I was like, "Ooh, have I gone overboard?"
No, I'll tell you what. I've seen some people that like. I won't name names because I'm not that kind of person, but I've been in streams where it's like we'll be having a typical conversation and then somebody will just butt in and be like, yeah, and about my book that's out that you can buy on Amazon right now, blah, 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 blah. It's like that literally has nothing to do with what we're talking about. You just found some reason to self-promo. Like when you get to that level, I'll probably like tell you something.
Yeah. No, I don't do that.
No, you're very sensible with your promotions, and it's literally the day after your book came out. I would not even stress it. Like,
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, Carrow, do you know?
Negative, I don't. I looked at that and I was thinking about it.
Because I feel like I know, but I don't know it enough to actually be able to answer it.
I do not know it. I am sorry.
154, 234 for a sage, and is done for the day. Good for you. I mean, you're in a very different time zone, so that makes sense. Re-entered toward the end of the stream and continued reading. Welcome back, Tiara. Managed to get 184. Got distracted and was only able to write for the last 5 minutes. That's okay. 472 for Violet. Thank you, Regina. No. Thank you. I'm not quite sure whether that's referring to the stream or the fact that I have a book out or the conversations that we're having.
It can
But I'm
mean
glad that
whatever you want.
something is great. Thank you. Good morning, BC Brown.
Hey, BC.
We're going to do 2 more sprints. We have one more 20-minute one, and then the last one, which is normally 20 minutes, is actually going to be 10 minutes because I have an important appointment after the stream that I need to get to. If you all are wondering, it's a COVID test because there's a chance I have it.
You've been exposed, you mean?
No, I think I might have it.
Oh, well, get that test, girl.
Yeah. About 300 words in revision notes. That's awesome. We got 2 more to go, so not quite the end. I'm going to say that, Carrow, now would be a good time to talk about the second card that you pulled.
So the second card I pulled was the reverse 4 of coins, which 4 coins is about kind of guarding your money and treating, being frugal with your spending, where the inverse of it is about being a dragon with the sword. I think a really good symbol that usually kind of depicts this really well is actually going to be Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales. If you guys remember, he had like that tower of money. He never did anything with it. He did everything he could to protect it to the point where his identity became attached to it. So for a writing prompt, it would be something about a person forming too strong of an attachment to a material item.
Yes.
So it could be maybe. I'm trying to think of a good example of that. Might be. It could be like that scenario or some kind of item that somebody wants. It could be like that super secret agent file that people are chasing. Stuff like that. Just some kind of physical thing that somebody can touch.
Yes, Clasher realized that they put the wrong quote, so I now know the answer. It's Hermione Granger when she's telling the tale of the 3 brothers. And I put the card meaning up in the chat, and I will pop it up on screen during the sprint. Thank you. Thank you. Right, but I can infect my mom, and so we're both getting tested. I've been feeling better the last few days, but ever since Christmas, I've been showing multiple symptoms, and my mom was like, maybe it's just a cold, and then I had one more symptom like 3 days ago, and she's like, we're getting tested. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, good on you for doing it, because I know there's some people that will complain about it, but then they won't get it, and I'm kind of like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, are you just going to keep complaining?
No, like I wanted to get tested sooner, but I was like, my mom didn't necessarily think, and we're in New Jersey, and I can't drive, so it's like I need her to take me. So once she was like, yeah, we should both go get tested, I was like, cool. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. We're getting tested. Don't you worry, Regina. I mean, I've kind of been self-isolating in my room here. So yeah, thank you. That's weird, Katja. I'm sorry you're having so many technical difficulties. Thank you. Yes, everyone should take care of themselves, hydrate, wear your masks, people. Don't go outside more than you need to. I think that's everything.
Or if you don't bitch about it. Don't hear it.
Yeah. What am I? Oh, I'm adding the timer back to the screen so we can have our final 20-minute sprint and still have time for a 10-minute sprint. But we'll pretty much jump right into the 10-minute sprint after I go over what the final card is very quickly. I don't know if we'll have time for like a wrap up. So if we don't, Carrow Brown is an awesome author tuber and is linked down below, who makes videos about tarot, writing, and host writing sprints.
Yep. Well done. Yeah, you did it better than I did. Thanks.
Okay, we're going to start in 3. Oh, nope. I want to change the banner to the 3rd sprint. And we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Happy productivity, everyone. I remembered to unmute myself this time. That was the end of the third and second to last sprint. We're going to have one more. It's going to be 10 minutes instead of the normal 20 because it is already 10:44 a.m. my time, which means if we jump into this 10-minute sprint very quickly, we will have time for a little wrap up at the end. So I need to create the new force room, and I will then show you all the card that I drew and paste the forest room link into the chat, and then also the card description in the chat. So 5Y2AM2X is the code.
You're so on top of things. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I try.
You do better than me, because usually when I have these streams, I'm like, hey guys, I don't know what's going to happen, so enjoy the ride with me. Let's go.
I know, but that's half the fun. That's half the fun. People were talking about the pandemic. I realized I said the C word earlier. I mean, I'm not monetized, and I don't really care if this.
All they're going to do is just put a thing on the bottom of your stream that says for actual updates, go to this place. That's all they're going to do. So
okay, that's fine. I mean, more people could use information anyway. The forest room link is in the chat. People are already in the room, so good on you for people who typed in the code yourself, didn't wait for the link. And the card that I pulled, oh wait, I just want to set the timer. I gotta do a different timer this time for 10 minutes, and then I'll share that in a moment. Sorry, everyone. It's because I'm switching to 10 minutes instead of what we normally do. Okay, the card that I pulled is the Emperor, and it's an appropriate card, but the drawing at the bottom, I don't know if YouTube's going to mistake it, so I'm covering the questionable part. The Emperor is, sorry. I actually drew the card reversed, so this is what it looked like when it was reversed.
Oh, wow. That's different.
Yeah. So reversed, the Emperor means an abuse of power, excessively controlling, rigidity, stubbornness, lack of discipline, and lack of control. So basically the U.S. government currently, and for the past 4 years. I think it's getting better. I hope it's getting better. From what I see, it's getting better, but there are certain news stories I've seen where people are standing in the way of it getting better, like refusing to seat certain people, even though they've been elected. So, yeah, unfortunately, we've been living 1984 and the Emperor reverse for way too long. So if you want to put any of those elements into your story for this writing sprint, please go ahead. Again, these tarot cards are optional prompts, and if you do something with them, cool. If you don't, that's okay. If you do something with it and want to share, awesome. Because this stream needs to end exactly at 11, I don't know that I'll be able to actually react to anything you share this time around, but yeah, for the future. The description is now in the chat, and I put it up on screen. It looks like a lot of people are in the forest room, so we're going to start it once I hide this banner and put this one up. And we're going to share the screen, and we're going to start in, nope, I want the forest app to say 10 minutes, not 20 minutes. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Happy productivity, everyone. Hello. That was the end of the final sprint. How did everyone do? I am so close to finishing this chapter, but I didn't get to.
I got messages and I'm responding to them real quick. And you're ending at a great time because, not to promote somebody else's channel, but Lisa Daly's about to start and I'm supposed to be there too. So.
Okay, yeah. Carrow, why don't you send me a link to that in the private chat and I'll pop it in the public chat. Everyone who was here, thank you so much. Feel free to pop your progress in the chat below. Know that I'm reading it, but for time's sake, I don't think I'll have time to put everything up on screen. So congrats to Sin for 222. Again, as a final plug for us, I'm going to, Carol just sent me the link to the next stream that's starting. You're welcome, Regina, for the stream. Bye, Caitlin. Violet got over 1,000 for the stream, 100 for the sprint for Katja, and 197 for Petra, 369 for the whole stream for Katja, plus 68 words. For BC Brown, had to respond to an email to line edit for a new client. That's interesting and very cool. It is now 11. So I'm going to quickly do an outro for both of us because Carol seemed to like the one I gave her. Carol is a author-tuber, obviously, link down below, who makes videos about writing and tarot and hosts writing sprints every so often. They're fun and apparently more chaotic than mine. I always have a fun time when I check in with her. So those are fun. My name is Zara Hoffman. I'm a self-published author of young adult paranormal romance and recently new adult sci-fi romance. You can buy all my books at a link down below. I am also a freelance editor and I make videos on AuthorTube about musical theater, writing, and I host writing sprints like this one every Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for the rest of this week alone, I will be hosting every day at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow won't be as rushed because I won't be running to an appointment. So if you had fun this time, please come back for another sprint and I will see you all very soon.